entire volume down to 0 so I can't hear a word you say. I was like, no.
Huh. It's set to mute us for some reason.
Hello,
Yeah.
everybody, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kamen Rider Build. Please ignore the weird technical intro that we had where we were having technical difficulties. I am Vashi V, and I'm joined with...
Tanks, go boom.
Rye.
DK.
Drago.
And 0.
Welcome to the start of Kamen Rider Build. It's a new year of Rider for us. And we have a new member, Tanks Go Boom.
What's up, guys?
So, Tanks, we typically talk in a specific order. It's usually just going down the list. So for you, like, after Drago is done doing his, like, section of what he has to say, then it'll be your turn.
Okay.
King can't join us tonight. It's her birthday. Everyone say happy birthday to King.
Happy
birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. It's also Zero's brother's birthday. Happy birthday to you too.
Woo!
We have no idea who you are, but happy birthday.
Yeah!
What he said.
Just what he said.
Alright. Now, on to Kamen Rider. 10 years ago, a manned mission to Mars successfully landed... Tanks, can you mute your mic?
Sorry, I was just pulling up the live stream real quick so I can communicate with chat.
That's fine, just keep that muted.
Yeah, I just did.
Alright. 10 years ago... 10 years ago, a manned mission to Mars successfully landed and discovered Pandora's box. During the return ceremony, someone whose face is not seen rushes out to the box and touches it, opening it and unleashing a huge wall. This wall, the Sky Wall, splits the country into 3. Hokuto, which enriched social welfare, Seito, which set out to restore the economy, and Toto, which promoted pacifism. Toto is where our show takes place. This is immediately a strong start for any Rider series. Divide the country. I can already tell that this is going to get into some level of politics that Rider series don't normally touch upon. I'm looking forward to this. What do you think, Decade?
I was thinking this would have been a great way to start off a Gaim. Because you would have had the freaking actual warring factions and stuff. But, yeah, pretty great intro. I'm really curious as to how these people knew about what Pandora's box, what activating it would do, when it was just some relic from Mars. That's gonna be really interesting if we get into some like Kabuto naturals thing that they've been living on Earth the whole time or something like that. It's pretty good setup for some crazy plot.
I'm thinking that the center zone who did it. Just at least as far as the height and everything is concerned, I think it's center who opened the box. So yeah, and otherwise also the premise of like the entire country splitting is actually have worked better if it was a plot for Gaim instead, like to actually have warring factions and stuff. But I don't actually get the point. They can just take a boat or a plane and go to the. I think they could go to the other side of Japan, if they or are they. I'm just curious if they are like they can't cross the borders or not.
I mean, the thing is, like, it goes out into the ocean also, but I think what's happened at this point, because it's 10 years after, like they don't want to be unified. They've sort of become like three different like city states.
Uh,
So like they're basically treating like themselves as like their own countries. Like North and South Korea sort of thing. I think that's what happened at this point.
then that makes sense. Yeah, otherwise that was an interesting premise.
Tanks, it's your turn to talk.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I think it was like a very common thing. The thing that really like confused me the most was again that mask guy just touching the box, like how random. I'm starting to think because that it. I mean, this is like later in the story. There's like this little flashback thing. I don't know if I'm allowed to like spoiler alert a little thing or not. Am I?
Like, you can touch upon something that's going to happen later, but don't go into too much detail until we actually talk about it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. I was just saying there was like gotta be this flashback of the bad guy. I'm starting to think that that particular guy is the person that's masked that just activated the bots. Because who else is gonna know how this thing worked? So it was very like oddly strange that he knew what he was doing. And then during the fact that it was actually split into the water, I'm assuming that not only did it like become city states, but I'm assuming that the reason it went into the water was actually not right away. I'm assuming it's like growing as the years went on. I mean, that's my personal opinion for this. And then I'm I don't know how to word it. It's like we're starting off in the pacifism side, like, but I'm starting to wonder what's going on in the other two sections. I'm starting to wonder if they're gonna add in later things that's gonna happen, and what's this country doing, what's this part of the country doing, and so on.
Oh, assuredly. They wouldn't split the countries if it wasn't going to be relevant.
Yeah. Now, I'm like trying to see if there's gonna be like different storylines happening along this one. Like we have Kamen Rider Build here, was like, but is there a Kamen Rider in this section of the country? Is it happening in this section as well? Which for whatever reason I'm having to bring. What were they called again? I think it was like, yeah, because we start off in Toruto, and then
Toto.
Toto.
And then the other two are Hokuto and Saito.
Oh yeah, Hokuto and Saito. For whatever reason I was going, okay. So yeah, I'm starting to think like because we have Kamen Rider Build in Toto, and then so in Saito and Hokuto, most likely there's probably the same thing happening on. I would not be surprised if that's not happening over there as well. But there's also the fact that the Pandora's box is in Toto, so it's so many questions for this first part. It's very confusing.
For those of people familiar with the fact that this is a Japanese show, which for our listeners would be odd, how odd would that phrase be to hear? Pandora's box is inside Toto. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna have you eat this Pandora's box.
Don't worry, it'll only grow a wall out of you.
Yeah, you're just gonna split into three.
Welcome to sci-fi.
Good job, Dorothy.
Like this is a great premise. It's a great start to it. And like everybody said, is like this would have been a better game. I feel for the exact same reason, because we would have had the Warring factions. Instead, we got dance crews, and no explanation for why on that.
Dance what?
There were dance crews.
In Gaim, they all started out as dancers and then became riders.
And they battled with, Pokemon ripoff.
Pokemon, guys.
But
Ash.
like it's a good it's a good start to it. It still ends up leaving a lot of questions. Like later on, it kind of somewhat answers whether or not you can just fly over the wall or not. I said kind of because there's still questions on how high up that goes, and yeah, it's like it a lot of questions involved, primarily being, hey, where exactly did this come from? How they find it? Everybody knew what it would do, or if it was just pure
Vashi, you cut out heavily.
crap. Is it sounding better now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
What was the last thing that was clear?
Something about crossing the wall.
Oh, yeah. Because like later on they kind of touch on that, but it's not clear like how high up that goes. But it this for this premise is like there's still so many unanswered questions. Primarily, is like was it all pure coincidence that some guy happened to touch it, was bringing it through? How was that guy connected to anything? Just a whole lot of crap for them to explain over the next 40 to 50 episodes. But all in all, this was a strong start.
I forgot to mention one thing. Is this show even taking place in the main Rider continuity?
I don't know. I mean, like, they're probably gonna say yes. Yeah, who knows?
I feel like splitting the country would have been relevant in the past 10 Rider series.
Yeah, I know, but it just happened like, yeah, you're like, oh, 10 years ago, right? The thing is, no, because, okay, unless Kamen Rider Final is bringing this continuity into main continuity, this has to be the same continuity. You know, it's one of those weird things. It's like, unless that movie is gonna bridge the gap between this universe and like the other thing, because for all the shows after a decade, we're kind of going into like, oh, this is one timeline, and for them to be like, no, we got like 2 shows to go before Heisei ends. Yeah, let's just dump this connected timeline. Like, I don't think they're gonna do that. I mean, it could be an alternate universe. That would be, yeah, like it's possible, but it's also possible Toei's lazy and they're gonna be like, yeah, no, it's main timeline, whatever.
Well, the whole Build showing up to fight Xaid was definitely a head scratcher after this episode.
See, unless they say that like all the writers or the newer guys all take place in the same area. I mean, they're not going to, but like, let's say they do, that would explain why everything fucking happens in Tokyo, you know, or like that prefecture.
It's mostly in that region as well because Futo and Tokyo are very close by, and wherever Oz lives and Tokyo are also very close, and Futo are very close by. So yeah, and most of the other stuff took place in Tokyo. Overall, I think like, that's the region, and Zawame City is nearby Futo as far as we know.
Okay, so is that one from Forze? Because like
no,
Wizard
it's from Gaim.
Okay, that's good because Wizard is straight up just Tokyo, and then like Forze I think is a different location. Whatever, who cares?
Forze is a high school. It doesn't matter where.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter where it is. Right. So like technically you could say like this has been going on for the 10 years, which is nonsense, but like we can fudge it if we really had to. And like why you don't see the older guys because they're fighting in the other regions, but it's more like screw it, we got too good of a plot to care about continuity, even though they're gonna just cross over like there's no tomorrow. Or anyway, when the movies roll around. the interesting like they split it into three, but as far as I know, or like I was watching like Josh Knight the first review on this and stuff, and he was just mentioning like the info they talked about the series before it started and all that, and they're saying like most of it is going to take place in this central area, and so I'm like, okay, maybe we won't have as much politics, which is kind of sad, but that doesn't mean that like they won't go to the other ones because that'll probably happen at like a later arc, which is fine. Um, at least spend some time focusing on characters and stuff. As for this episode, it was very like well, it's not bad, but like it wasn't good. It was like decently executed. Like the exposition was a little clunky, the direction was a little clunky, especially in that like final fight area and stuff. We'll get to that in this.
Boy, are you right about the
Otherwise,
exposition.
yeah. Like otherwise, like it's got potential, which is nice. Um, yeah, it's got potential. Like I have issues with it, but it's an interesting concept. As for like why Gaim didn't do it, like I think either the breakdancing shit was set before they switched over to like the Lockseed stuff, and because Gaim got like a major retooling before they made the final show that is Gaim, or the other reason is like Urabuchi really fucking wanted to do Smart Brain, and so he put Yggdrasil, and like that's why we have to stay in this one town, you know. But that's getting on a totally different tangent, so let's keep going.
Welcome to Kamen Rider, where the continuity's made up and the crossovers don't matter.
I mean, some of them matter.
Alright. Gentoku Himuro. He is the head of the Toto Institute of Advanced Matter Physics and an aide to the Prime Minister of Toto. He is charged with overseeing research of Pandora's box. So he's just going about his day when Sento Kiryu runs up to the containment chamber for Pandora's box, getting all excited and wondering what its composition is. Nariaki Utsumi, Himuro's assistant and also an aide to the Prime Minister, explains to Himuro that Sento showed up looking for a job and got every question right on the test they gave him. We don't really know much about these characters right now, but it seems like they're setting up Himuro to be an interesting possible like pro-antagonist based on some stuff we see later. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him.
Yeah, I've seen him before in... Oh, nice. I've seen him before as an actor, and he's pretty good. Yeah, I think he'll definitely be somewhat of a villain based on... I mean, he pretty much explains... Well, no, I guess he doesn't explain it till later when he's talking with Sento. But I'll just skip ahead. He basically says that not only does the wall come up, but also that there is a light when Pandora's box opened, and it affected everyone's... It like drew out their emotions, and he was there, so he pretty much admits that he's kind of unhinged in some way. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Drago.
Oh, yeah. I actually have nothing to say on this. These guys are new characters introduced. Maybe like once we find out something good about them, and then yeah, I can talk about. Then we can talk more about the characters. But at least as far as like they actually show like how like at least how curious Kiryu is, and then his that hair standing that thing. I don't know. People call it hair erection or something like that. But yeah, that's it.
Again, kind of like very confusing. Now we are talking about the guy that like started off talking about the story and everything, right?
Yeah, he's the one that opened up with all that exposition.
Okay. Now the thing that I noticed first is that his like complexion is like it's almost as if he's like the manager of that entire building, because when you get to do it, it's like this huge. I'm assuming it's like a gigantic laboratory.
He is higher up than just a manager.
Oh, is he the president?
Not exactly, but he is in charge of the entire Pandora's Box research project.
Okay, so he's like the lead scientist. Okay, that clears things up a bit. Now, the only strange thing is, and the thing that I'm really confused on, because he said that how everyone that was touched by that light emerged from the panel.
Your mic is breaking up a bit.
Oh, are we good now?
No. Vashi, what do you usually do?
I usually just unplug it and plug it back in.
Are we up again?
Yeah, you sound good now.
You can continue.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that guy we're talking about, he's the head of like the entire institute of that building. Tanks?
He may still be having technical issues. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Vashi, you're starting to break up too.
Oh, that is probably my internet itself. Is that better?
Not really.
I think it's issue with Discord itself.
Fudgy nuggets. Go ahead, Zero. I'm gonna reconnect to the call.
Just
am I
give me
getting
one
it?
sec.
Oh yeah,
back?
you sound better. Okay, you can continue what you were saying.
Okay, so from remember where I was, he was saying how everyone that was touched by that light was like all the anger and aggressiveness that was inside was exposed. Something weird started happening to him. The only question is, how does he know about it?
He was there. He was there when the wall formed. He was at that like ceremony. So the real question is, how did the light affect him?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because if the only way he could know is if it was there. So I'm starting to see if he's like one of those bad guys, and just we're secretly not.
Okay, thanks. You got cut off.
Yeah, Tanks, I think you cut out. Vashi, do you have anything to say?
Not really. I'm curious to see how the light.
You are also like really like distorted.
Oh god, it's not.
I'll do this again.
Zero, you can go.
Okay. Oh wow, this train wreck. Hopefully I am coming clear.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, okay. So one thing I forgot to mention is like I agree with Drago that like I think our main character like Sento is probably the guy who set off this whole Pandora's box nonsense. Anyway, and as for this, I guess Prime Minister's aide, yeah, whatever. I don't remember anybody's names. He seems interesting. What with his interactions with like him and the reporter, I was totally getting like a Zelda and oh shit.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Goro-chan.
Yeah,
From the
no, and the reporter lady.
Oh, you're talking about
from
Reiko?
the- Yeah, Reiko.
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to think of Goro-chan's name.
No, not today.
No, you're trying to think of
Um,
Reiko. Yeah.
yeah, Reiko and like Zelda's interactions. And I was like, oh, that's really. I mean, like at this point, like it's borrowing so many ideas, and the other thing is like we've seen so many shows, like literally they can plot like any character on screen, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can see this character as a thing from like a different show. So I'm like, they're just writing a similar type dynamic. I don't think it's an actual reference to Ryuki. Like most of the shit in this episode is like, yeah, it's got very like early Heisei feel. Like they keep saying Showa, but like the only Showa thing is like, oh, the monsters the week we fight are created by this evil organization, and like our heroes were altered by the same thing. And I'm like, all right, that's a Showa thing, but I'm like, it's also a Blades thing. So like, it's the show is closer to like early Heisei than it is to Showa. As for like the organization, like one, they're totally fucking borrowing the damn Ghost outfits, pretty much. And the second thing is like the whole thing of like we're a ministry of like a part of the government, but who are into research, but are actually secretly conducting these experiments and stuff. That's like Shocker, but like Shocker from the comics, because apparently Shocker in the comics for the first for like the original Kamen Rider manga is they're a branch of like the Japanese government, so they can just like recruit people. Um, basically, how should I put? Like how Shield, like the Hydra part of Shield, right? Like where they're like Shield, the government bureaucracy, but like the small like Hydra section was doing super illegal shit. Basically, that's what Shocker was. Um, and so it's going to be interesting to see these guys going forward, because that's kind of like a very like classic reference. Like I want to see how far it goes. And the other thing is like I'll just say it now because I'm probably gonna forget. Is like the one thing that impressed me this episode was like how low key and normal the comedy is, because the last couple of years we've been like so over the top. It's kind of nice to see like a more like Ryuki or like uh, I mean Kiva had okay ones and then it went over the top a little bit, and like same thing with Adita. But like Ryuki, I think probably had like the most like normal comedy because it was just pretty much a drama show. So I kind of really liked how low key the comedy moment.
Tanks, your mic.
We're good?
Yeah, we can hear everything. You need to mute it right now.
Okay, well, it's still logging in real quick. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah, it was still turning on, and then all of a sudden I heard voices. I was like, wait, what? Hold up. What?
Yeah, Discord is weird like that. Zero, go on.
Yeah, like the comedy was nice and understated, which like for the last couple of years we've gotten so like over the top comedy. So it was nice to just let like a joke play. Like the whole thing of like let's go to the hotel to like talk. At first I'm like, oh, that's clever, because and then he's like, oh wait, I'm like, oh you fuck. I was like, that's actually really clever, because because at first you think it'd be like, oh, I can't talk here, I gotta be secret, and then like he's just doing the Zelda thing. I'm like, oh, that's clever. And then like the later part with when they're in the cafe with like the drawing on the face, and then the like double take of like, oh, you've got a phone, what? So you're just gonna call in sick? Yeah, I'm gonna call in sick. And it's like, no, of course. I was like, oh, that's such like a Fies Ryuki type thing. Oh, I mean, like I think it's been way too. I remember more from like Fies and Ryuki, or like that low play comedy. I'm like, that was well done, or at least the directing for that was good, because like the fight directing is kind of shit, but like all the other scenes were decent. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and expand on that, because that was a point that I was gonna make later. But yeah, I think another thing that was funny about that scene was when he's like, okay, we're gonna go to a hotel, and then they start walking because she doesn't get it yet, and his assistant's just in the background and he bows down, like saluting him. Uh, but yeah, one of the things that I thought of when Drago told me who the writer for the series was, I've seen a couple of his dramas, so I was like, oh, awesome! This guy's really diverse. He writes good heroes, good villains, really good romance. But I totally forgot how freaking hilarious he is. Like in all of his dramas, there's just like one real smart ass or a couple smart asses that just troll the other characters so well. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty funny show at the very least.
I definitely agree with Dragon Zero that I think Sento was the one who opened the box. Um, and that is an interesting point about the comedy. I didn't think about that, but now that you bring it up, this has been very subtle, which was definitely missing from X8 at least. I didn't watch Ghost. Moving on, Sawa Takigawa, a journalist investigating Pandora's box, asks Himuro about the Kamen Rider. Reports say people being attacked by monsters dubbed Smash, and that a mysterious figure called Kamen Rider has been fighting them. Himuro makes a comment about taking her to a hotel where they can talk about the Kamen Rider all night, and she promptly leaves. That night, she is attacked by a Smash. She is saved by the Kamen Rider, who, after defeating it, pulls out a bottle and absorbs its components, turning it back into a normal human. So, like you said, Sawa reminds me a lot of Reiko from Ryuki, except Reiko never found out about the Rider stuff going on. Sawa already knows.
She does, but like very close to the end. Like it's ridiculous how long it takes for them to figure out. Like maybe 3 episodes to go. Probably less than that.
I don't think she ever finds out that Rider stuff is going on. They just learn about monsters in the mirror, but they never.
No. She sees Shinji come out of a mirror.
No, she doesn't. That was the dim-witted assistant. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
later on when she goes to God damn it. Like the old house of the kids, and like Shinji comes out of a mirror.
Oh wait, does he?
A window, yeah.
Maybe.
And then like they go back to the office and then talk, and like the boss is like, "Oh man, you've been fighting all this by yourself, kid. Like you should have let us know."
Oh jeez, I don't remember that at all. I need to rewatch
it's
Ryuki.
Like really close to the end.
I am very lost.
Don't worry about it. We're just referencing an older Rider series. You don't need to worry about that.
Okay. You know what? You know who Sawa reminds me of?
Go on.
Maya from Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. There was a reporter friend of the main rider.
So the American version of Reiko.
Yeah, but she knew about the rider stuff from episode 1.
Ah. I'd also Zero, you will like this fact. Takigawa is also the name of a character from Wizard. I don't remember which one, but that was a fact I learned when writing down all their names.
Okay, like I don't remember that name. Like, okay, it could be a last name, so I have no idea. Or maybe.
And wait, and also, did you notice this Build Smash?
Yeah, that's clever. It's also like I'm like, oh, Smash, that's pretty on the nose. I'm like, you realize like Kiva's enemies are called fungi, right? Like they have a stained glass motif, and fungi just means break in Italian because the whole violin thing. So I'm like, oh my god, like continuing this like on the nose. Like we have to remember, we've had some really dumbass names. Like, oh, unknown life form, you know, like what, the undead. It's so like the name. Okay, here's the thing. It might sound cool to the Japanese because they don't know enough English, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of on the nose for us because we know English, so it's like, you could have chosen a better thing. But to the Japanese,
Well, I think unknown life form makes more sense than unknown life form does make more sense because in a real life, if monsters showed up, then what are you gonna call them?
No, I mean like in Kuga it makes sense, but then like oh what are they in Agito? It's really
They're
close.
in Agito. They're just unknown.
Yeah, and then like externally like in the actual information they're called like the
Overlords.
overlords or something. Yeah, it's weird.
Sora Takigawa. That's who she shares the name with.
Oh, Sora. Okay.
Takegawa Sora, the gremlin.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna be fucking Gremlin. Actually, no, Sora because he wants to be called Sora more than Gremlin. Which if you watched Wizard, makes more sense because like when phantoms are born, they like lose their humanity or basically they just kill their host. And Sora's he's a weirdo for reasons.
He is psychopath
Oh
and
come
a
on,
murderer.
shit! Don't.
Yeah.
That was like the best twist of that show.
Okay, Decade, did you have anything to say on Sawa?
No. Just, we don't really get much of her.
Tanks, did you have anything to say on the journalist girl that gets attacked by a monster?
Not really on the girl herself, but I did kind of mention like not mention. I did kind of notice that while we were going and Bella was sorry, but while oh my lord, while the guy was like the smash was coming up on her, it was like I started noticing that doesn't it look kind of like a pterodactyl mixed with like a plane or a rocket or something like that because it looks similar to that hybrid of that.
It was
Really
apparently
weird.
a hedgehog.
Yeah,
Well, no.
pretty strange.
How did you get a hedgehog from that?
Yeah, I think it's just more like it was ice powered and then they made it a hedgehog. I don't think it was a hedgehog.
Okay.
Because like yeah, I get more of the plane vibe because they're doing the like Shocker throwback, which actually it's not Shocker, it's like the V3 thing, but it's what Shocker is known for now, which is like we're gonna take an animal thing and a machine thing and we're gonna combine them. That was more of Kamen Rider V3's monsters. But like ever since V3, every time Shocker shows up, that's what they do. So it's like, even
Yeah.
though like V3 fought like Destron, who's fucking even Shocker.
Well, I wanted to say that except for Amazon and Black and RX, right? All of the enemies in Showa are all subsidiaries of Shocker. As far as I have been told by the people who watch Showa Rider a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like
thinking.
they retcon that later on. It seems like that every organization that has been bought till Z Cross from one except Amazon are all Shocker.
Yeah, it's because like Shocker was like worldwide, and then like once it fell, I think because what happens is like every show is kind of like set up in its own like area of the world, sort of. It's weird. Um, so like yeah, they're probably like remnants of Shocker. Uh, yeah, it's weird, but it's easier to think they're like offshoots of Shocker than like anything else. Like the only thing I can think of is like Z Cross, but like Z Cross was a movie, so who the fuck knows what they were actually from. Because like they're pretty close to a Cyborg 009 reference, like Z Cross's enemies, but like who knows? Okay, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's enough about Shocker. Vashi, do you have anything to say on Sawa?
Apparently, she should have taken that trip to the hotel room.
I was thinking that too.
Wow.
I do want to say though, she has balls because when she sees the monster, the first thing she does is grab her phone to take a picture of it.
I know, right? Like,
and she actually does get the picture.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, I noticed that the second time through. It like snaps right before it smacks her.
Oh, good on her.
Yeah, that's
Woohoo, smart.
Even though she disappears for the rest of the episode, that's good.
Yeah,
cliffhanger.
because every time like Reiko tries to do something like that, either her phone gets knocked away or like she gets knocked out. So like I'm kind of liking that she actually gets to fucking do her job in this without like this episode has a lot of plot conveniences, but that wasn't one of them, so that was nice. As for yeah, I mean like I liked the design, but like Hedgehog was not what was coming to mind when seeing that thing.
Like
Oh, sorry.
the like initial monster introduction, it was nice and all that. I don't really care for the whole build smash thing. I get it; it makes sense. But I'm not a fan of it, though. I did like the silhouetted, shadowy, appearance to build for the first time. It was like, throwback to the whole
Yeah,
urban,
no.
to the like the whole urban myth aspect of it. Of we don't know who these guys are. We just know that it's a term that exists, and this thing is going out killing people or killing bad guys. We don't know what the vigilante looks like, so the first time you see him, it's in shadow. It's a nice throwback to a very 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 long running trope.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome because I mean that's a good point. What I was actually gonna say is like the shots that they were choosing was like straight up like early show. I mean not show, early Heisei, because it was like it's that fucking like it looks like that like walkway thing that's in like Ryuki a million times, but and then like the like Ferris wheel in the distance, and that's like a very like Ryuki Fives thing. I was like, oh, such nice callbacks. But like they've been doing more like night shots lately. So I hope it continues because it really adds like a nice layer to it. Because otherwise, when you see like Build fight in this, it's like, oh, okay, maybe they really wanted to show off the CGI,
Uh,
and that's why this choreography sucks. Because otherwise, like I was not blown away.
Real
But
quick,
that shot was cool.
Drago, you have to go, so I want to say bye.
Bye bye. I didn't want to interrupt the podcast.
Later.
Okay, man. See you.
See you.
Oh wow, okay.
And wow.
And to fill in for Drago is King.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Boy, was that
Wow.
timed perfectly.
How do you like them apples, huh?
Almost
Talk
like I
about
planned
timing.
it.
Almost. Or was it?
Almost, because I didn't.
So, where are we?
We're early on.
We're still early on.
Just got attacked.
Ah.
Just got attacked by the first Smash monster.
Well, then, by all means.
Did you have any thoughts on like Pandora's box, like creating the wall that split the country?
I need a little bit more info before I can dive into that, but for now, I like the mystery it's adding, and I'm sure there are a hell of a lot of crackpot theories, but I can't wait to hear them.
Okay, I just have one more theory on that stupid wall. Right.
Go on.
Why did they show the humans getting sucked up by it? Because I'm like, that's a waste of CGI and Toei is cheap. So like, either those guys come back, or are like some other type of monsters, or instead of 3 sections, there's a 4th section, and it's gonna be all these people who got blown up by the freaking like.
Or maybe it's been a while since we've seen people die.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think they're
Mhm.
dead. It just feels like they got lifted up. So there might be a 4th area, or those guys are gonna be like even stronger monsters, like, or maybe they're gonna have like a natural thing going on. I don't know. It was weird because like at first I'm like, oh, they're dying, but I'm like, if they were gonna show them dead, they would have just shown them falling off or exploding. But like they specifically showed these people getting lifted off, and I'm like, maybe that's gonna come back later. I mean, that's my feeling. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen.
Okay, King, did you have any thoughts on Himuro, the head of the institute, or Sawa, the journalist that he's talking to?
Sawa, I'm interested in, because it's nice to have more than one prominent female actress. And as for the head guy, he seems like a jackass, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's somehow involved in all the villainy with Smash and everything, but only time can tell right now, and for now, I'm not really that fond of him, but if he is a villain, he's a damn good one.
Okay, one question, King. Have you seen Ryuki? King?
King.
Shit, sorry.
Were you talking that whole time with your mic muted?
No, I can't. My volume's screwed up. Can you say that one more time, please?
Have you seen Ryuki?
Yes,
Does she remind you of Reiko?
very much so.
Okay. Tanks, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I was kind of mentioning because while they were going, there was many things I want to say. I just didn't want to say them. So like, just getting a little off track. When I first heard them call them Smash for whatever reason, I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna have a little thing of Super Smash Brothers." Oh wait, hang on, we're Japanese, not American. Okay, never mind. And yeah, for whatever reason I heard Smash, I was like, Super Smash Brothers. Do 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 do.
You realize Smash Brothers was made in Japan, right?
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Oh, I did not know this.
Like, almost every Nintendo game was made in Japan.
Oh yeah, that is true because Pokemon was made in Japan, and
Pokemon wasn't made by Nintendo. Pokemon was made by a different company for Nintendo.
Yeah, and then the last thing when Drago was talking about how they separated and how in the Toto section Tokyo was in, I was like, I'm starting to feel bad for it because first they had to deal with Godzilla, and then they had to deal with some other weird monsters, and then now they have to deal with aliens that are trying to destroy Japan, and they needed weird superheroes to save them. They're just going through a lot of crap right now.
Look, they've been going through this crap since the Yeah, no. Yeah, alright. Let's go with 70s for sure. I was gonna go with like the Godzilla thing, but I'm like, that's a different universe. Because the original writer is what, like 71? Yeah, whatever. So they're pretty much used to this. As for like why we're in this like one central region, I'm like, that's basically like the region Tokyo is in, and like basically the majority of all Kamen Rider takes place in that small section of Japan. Like the only other times we've gone out of that is like, I don't know, maybe like Black for sure, Kuga, and that's all I can think of. Like
TBQ.
the rest,
On and off.
Yeah. But like 3 shows out of like all of them.
That's. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's cool. Anything else?
Not really from me. It was just the fact those just little facts that just connected it to other things. I was like, just thought I'd bring it up. So other than that, let's get on to the next thing. If anyone else has nothing else to say.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay, so the next morning, Sento wakes up in his lab where some sort of machine with a microwave built into it finishes what it was doing. He opens it up and pulls out the bottle containing the Smash's component from the night before. Misora Isurugi, I butchered that, steps out of the machine, exhausted. Sento says good job and wonders if the component is a hedgehog. For some reason, Misora can purify Smash components thanks to the machine that Sento built, and those purified components can be used by Build. We don't really get much more information about Misora, unfortunately. Why can she do this is a question not answered right now. Did you guys have anything to say about her? Because right now I don't really have much of an opinion on her.
It's, yeah, just her role as a plot device. It's definitely interesting because it's not just Blade kill the monster, get its power. Like, he has to use this girl or he has to rely on her, because if something happened to her, then he'd kind of not be able to get power ups anymore. So yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Oh yeah. I think the problem with the first episode is not really a big problem. It's just that a lot of the characters I can't really get a gauge on yet, besides the main one, but of course we'll get to that. So for now, I mean, payback for drawing on Senthil, I did like that, but other than that, yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say on her quite yet. I guess we'll just figure out more about her as we go.
Oh, Rami. I forgot Draco left. But the first thing that I'd like to also him that he first wakes he notices that he's been drawn on, so I'm starting to wonder if it was her or not.
I think the implication is that it was her.
Yeah, I was thinking so. And and then the weird thing I also just realized that when he first takes the smash away from the person, it's in the normal case. And then once it goes in there raw, it like turns into this grenade looking thing, and then when it's done cooking or whatever happens and is a complete mystery to us, it comes back to the way he took it out of him. I'm like, why? It's very confusing because it starts off in that little capsule, and then it goes into this weird thing, and then it goes back to that capsule again.
Well,
Trying to figure out why.
it's not in that same capsule. It's kind of this like bulkier thing, which has like it kind of looks like a rib cage type thing going on, where it's kind of more of like a circular bottle, whereas like the normal ones are more of like a cylindrical thing. So like when he just like takes their essence, it's in this more like circular thing, and then like he puts it in and it processes it, and then it becomes the like skinny one. So like he can capture their like energy, but like he can't use them because he can only use like the skinny ones. Whatever. I guess like it's a two-step process, so that's why like they're a little different. But it could also be that like they messed up with editing because like uh, I watched like another review. Um, uh, yeah, Chris Amadeus, I think. He started doing writer reviews. He's been doing like this year's Sentai, and so like this was his like first writer show, so I guess he was paying like a lot of attention. And then like he's noticing like how like the coats move and things move. So like it could just be a continuity error because like they might have messed up the shots because they messed up a couple shots apparently. Anyway, continue.
Okay. And then now that you say that, now it gets me thinking is like since he gets in that circular rib cage like um whilst the girl's in there is like how does it change into uh the rectangular one? Like how does it like the bottle change? Does it go to a different one? How is it transferred? It's that invention of his is just a mystery within a mystery within a mystery wrapped in a question mark. Wrapped in the mystery of the universe. I don't know. It's just there, and people are just like, it's a gigantic thing. Why do we not know what this does?
It's episode one, kid. We've got like 40 plus to go. This is
Probably,
like every
yeah.
writer show ever. This is what happened. Also, like if they answer it, that's like yes, like short of being the guy who wrote like Double and Drive and Kyryuger, the dinosaur one with the dancing. Like that guy has this like like he has this ability, or like he really likes to tie like every single toy and every single thing and give it a reason. Like most writers don't give a shit because like it's like, okay, here's the prop that Bandai gave you, like put it in the show somehow, right? Like yeah, the prop, like the writer's doing one thing and Bandai is doing another thing, and like the production studio is doing a whole different thing, and like sometimes they line up and they make perfect sense, and other times it's like, all right, it's like three different things which we need to make this show, and like depending on how badly Toei wants to cut your budget today, you might get some answers.
Yeah, now that you say it, was like it is the first episode. It's like it's the first time in a while where you were begged with that many questions right off the start. Because I mean, other than like Power Rangers, it was like okay, a lot of questions were answered right then and there. But now since it's the Japanese version, there's like so many questions that need answered right off the rip. And normally in the American version, it would be like, oh, here's the answers to some of those major questions. And now in this one, it's like, oh, we're just gonna keep you on the cliffhanger, and we're gonna keep you on the cliffhanger, and we're gonna almost reveal it, but keep it on the cliffhanger, and then now we're gonna reveal it. It
Yeah, I
like
think
keeps
this
you
happens.
linked.
Yeah, I think this happens to like everyone who's not used to like tokusatsu. Is like if you watch like there's two formulas. There's that hey we have like a prequel shit and we're not gonna show you that till like flashback later, and that one might give you a couple answers. And we've been doing that for a couple of years. And then there's this one, which is the stuff that used to be like early Heisei and Kamen Rider O's and stuff, where it's like, yeah, we're barely gonna give you any answers, but this is how tokusatsu shows roll. Which like if this is a good show, they'll answer it within the first arc or like the first third of the show. If it's a really dragged out one, you're gonna have to wait for like 30 plus to get any real answers.
Yeah, and most likely, since this is my first podcast and the first thing, I'll probably eventually will get used to it as well. It's just again, I'm not used to it, so most likely, I'll probably get used to it. Yeah.
Just give it some time to set in.
Yeah.
Vashi, did you have anything to say?
I do like the fact that like nothing's really explained all that much. Pretty much the biggest thing that was explained in this series was that this episode was a Pandora's box. That's pretty much it. Beyond like bare minimum, was like I like the formula because it literally makes everything a guessing game. Because we have the issue of now we have this girl who has this ability because of a machine, but is it really because of the machine or because of her ability or blah blah blah? It's a whole long convoluted thing. And plus, you know, they've gave like some interaction or indication of like their interactions with each other. Is like, but it's a matter of how well do these people know each other, what's the situation, everything else. And it's a unique start to the series after the last couple of seasons.
Okay. You guys have pretty much said everything I was gonna say. So Japanese lesson. Okay. If you see an I in a Japanese word, pronounce it like an E. And if you see an E, pronounce it like an EH. Right? I'm just letting you know that's how Japanese rolls. There's a couple other things where like, you know, if you see like an E and an I, just it's a double E. Like it's a long vowel. And if you see like a O and a U, it's a double O. Right? Japanese to English translation is a little weird. And like whenever they write I, it's an E sound. So like, you know, Misora, right? Like her dad is like Soichi, right? And it's like it's Suichi and it's just straight up like, you know, Agito, like that name. And it's like, well, it's written differently. It's because like Japanese E and I, the way we write it in English is weird, but like the Japanese have a sound for like I is E and E is like a long E, so it's an E and an H sound. Anyway, there's the random fact because I didn't have anything else.
And now, here's the end of Speaking Japanese with Zero. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. I was so tempted.
Okay. So, upstairs, Misora's father, Soichi, is getting ready to open up his coffee shop for the day, Cafe Naskita. When Sento comes up, he asks if Sento has regained any of his lost memory. Sento is an amnesiac. Sento tells him he remembers a scientist with a gas mask, human testing, and a Batman. Not the DC Batman, but like Batman.
Okay, so here's the thing. I saw this in like a couple people. They always do the not the DC Batman. Okay, the Kamen Rider has two. No, I'm just gonna explain why this is the thing. Spider and Bat. Those are the first enemies of the original Kamen Rider, and like Rider has a motif where those two always generally always show up, or you see them in flashbacks, and it's gonna be Spider-Man or just a spider monster, and Batman and a Bat monster. Those are one and two. And the thing is, like, for some reason, I don't know why, Ishinomori wanted his hero to fight America's greatest heroes, and he didn't want to use Superman because I guess he thought it was boring. Or
Superman
like,
is boring.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, that's why like the first one is Spider-Man, the second one is Batman. Like it's literally a reference to Spider-Man and Batman. Like at one point they were gonna do like Batman comics, and like Ishinomori was gonna write some because like he really liked the Joker. So yeah, this is like random Kamen Rider history. Yeah, okay. Back in the day, Japan was weird because how close it came to being like mixed in with like Western superheroes. So that's why like you have Batman manga and stuff at that time. Also, like the second Super Sentai show was an Avengers show, and like before Power Rangers got brought over, Stan Lee was trying to bring like I think like Super Sentai or Kamen Rider. I think it was Super Sentai over to America. So like yeah, like it's weird how tied in it is, and also like the second Super Sentai is like one of the alternate universe Earths has that team on it as their Avengers. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, Soichi informs. Okay, so first off, Sento. Turns out Sento made Build just to search for that Batman. Soichi informs Sento that he's built up a year of rent, and that he's not soft-hearted enough to let an amnesiac stay for free, which is why he made Sento apply for a job at the Institute. Sento realizes that he's going to be late for his first day, pulls out his phone, inserts a full bottle into it, and it turns into a fucking motorcycle. His phone.
You didn't see that coming.
I saw it coming because I saw the trailer. But the one of the few good things of Gaim is the like miniature like Pokeball bike things, and I'm like, thank God, another show used it because I don't want to fucking have to say like at least Gaim had the brains to use their bikes well. Like, if we're gonna borrow ideas, let's borrow this one because it's a good one. I mean, like the bike's probably gonna disappear in like 4 episodes, but at least they tried, you know. Yeah, go ahead.
At the Institute, Sento meets Himuro, who puts him on the Pandora's Box project. Excuse me. During their chat, Himuro gets a call to check the news. Convict Ryuga Banju, whatever, has escaped the penitentiary. Ryuga was arrested for the murder of a scientist involved with the Pandora's Box project. Guardians, this robot police force, attempted to seize Ryuga and were found destroyed. Suspecting that Ryuga might turn into a smash, Sento sets out to find him with Soichi's help, because Soichi managed to somehow hack into the GPS of a motorcycle Ryuga stole. I'm just gonna gloss over that one for now.
I'm actually live on the podcast. Oh, it was like lagging for a bit, so we just unlagged and stuff. And you're also kind of cracking up as well. Is it just thought I'd point it out real quick.
Am I cracking up for anyone else?
Well, not anymore. You were a little bit ago.
Oh.
You here. I'm just gonna be real quick to see like when the lag started, where it like cracked up.
It's fine. You can. We'll listen to the playback later.
Yeah, it's fine. Just keep going. I mean, like,
Okay.
just just do a quick like rundown, and then everybody start saying their thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Sento catches up with Ryuga, who claims to have not murdered anyone, and that he can't go back because they will catch him again. They get into a fist fight where Ryuga has the advantage. Sento pulls out his rabbit bottle, which boosts his speed and knocks Ryuga down. So the bottles can actually just be used by holding them. That's neat. Seeing this, Ryuga suspects that Sento was also experimented on by the gas mask men, or is one of them. He explains that in prison he was kidnapped for human experimentation. Sento desperately asks if there was a Batman there to see if it's the same place, but Ryuga doesn't know anything about that. Their conversation is interrupted by a smash pushing a car at them. Sento explains to Ryuga that it's a human that's been turned into a brutal monster, and that you can't reason with it until you defeat it. Ryuga attempts to fight it, but its body is too hard for him to hurt. Sento pulls out his belt, inserts his rabbit and tank bottles, and henshins into Kamen Rider Build. I really like this henshin. The way like it just actually builds up around him is really good. The like all the formulas that appear around him that are actually real because the Smash reacts to them by looking at them. I just like this. After
Yeah, even if they drop the whole formulas floating around thing, I think it was still pretty awesome for the first episode kind of gag. I mean, not really a gag though, but yeah, it was cool. And in terms of Bancho Ryuga, yeah, it was pretty nice to have, like, right off the bat, we know that he's strong enough to beat up grunts, not transformed. So yeah, he's gonna be pretty useful in that aspect for a while, hopefully.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we don't know that, like, he beat them untransformed. Like, he could have gone monster state and, like, changed back to
Yeah, I guess so. But if he didn't, then props.
Oh my god. Okay. For one thing, I love yoga so far because I'm not gonna lie, I have seen bits and pieces of season 2 of Amazons, and I know it wasn't perfect. It was still, I liked him as an actor, so to see him back, I love. And oh my god, I'm honestly, if it wasn't for the whole Smash crap, I'm honestly amazed his knuckles aren't broken at this point. And just the whole formula shooting past him does prove one theory I have: math is evil. But other than that, yeah, I freaking love his transform sequence. That was gorgeous. I loved that so damn much. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say. I love this.
For me, I just the fact that they actually inquired Build into the henshin actually thought it was really cool because they actually like built his suit and everything. And then once again, there's that belt in every single Kamen Rider I've seen it that they have someone cross their waist. I'm like, there's something with that belt. They just have a thing with belts apparently when it comes to Kamen Riders.
It's the trope.
Oh.
I can only think of a few riders that don't use a belt, but let's not get into that right now.
Yeah. And then, other than that, the cool thing is that as he transforms, actually, it's like when he does it, all he has to do is, when he first all he does is shake him for like a whole long time. I'm like, why isn't the smash hitting him right now? Because he's vulnerable. And then there's also the fact that just thought I pointed out that the smash also looks like a weird remake of Regigigas from Pokemon. I was like, huh, okay. And then just it was astonishing to just watch him. It was boom. There we go. Okay, I'm transformed. Let's do this. Pose and then just get right into the duel. I mean battle. I mean, oh lord, I do too much Yu-Gi-Oh. And then getting right into it, and then I also kind of agree with King on those math symbols that were going by. I was like looking around. It was like, oh yeah, math and science are about to kick some butt. It's time for this match to get a little bit of education. We will take you down by learning. Let's do this. And that's about it for me. It was just an epic part of the scene to finally see him morph. I mean, Henshin.
Like I enjoyed Build Tension. I'm not sold on the crank aspect of it. Other than that, I liked it. I liked the fact that the suit was built around him, and like when it pieced it together, it was like every little like build a build a car kit where you're popping the pieces out of the little plastic frame. I like that they had that. But yeah, at first I thought that when all the math symbols and stuff popped up, it was just like something that was just showing on screen for the sake of it, like like because all the transformations have like their little special effects that are are literally just for the sake of the viewers.
Like the stars from JoJo.
Yes. So having the monster actually react to these is one awesome and really makes me start raising questions because formulas are literally floating through the air. I want to know how, and just don't tell me, trope and henshin. I want science.
Yeah,
Magic.
see, okay. I was thinking there were uh, the formulas floating is him thinking them, but like, yeah, it could just be it's the first episode. We're gonna throw budget at it.
Thing in the freezer?
Uh, it could also just be first writer kick. Well, get used to it. Probably not gonna see another writer kick for like 20 episodes, because that's how a writer rolls. Anyway, yeah, this is like the second half of the episode, and like immediately once the second half or this whole mess starts, like problem after problem like showed up for me. I was like, oh my god, this is not great right now. Okay, at first, right, like this random person who applied today, I know he got a perfect marks, but they're like, here, this is a thing. You now work on it. I'm like, what? Security clearance? What the fuck? Also, like you have amnesia, but somehow you're a perfect physicist. Like questions. Secondly, he was in basically an orientation, and then he just ran off after the guy. It's like, how do you justify that to your boss? How do you go back and work there? Right? Like, how do you explain that? Like, you ran off. This Kamen Rider guy showed up, and then he decided to run off with the fugitive to your boss. Right? Like, this is fucking madness. And like, let's say he doesn't go and work there, would they not put two and two together and figure out, oh right, that guy with the brown jacket on the bike was probably this idiot? Like so many questions right here. As for like the actual henshin, okay, the monster design is cool. It's kind of like a Ryuki throwback where they had like a like more like monsters with like all this mechanical stuff going on. So I'm like, yeah, I really like the design. Um, like, what's his name? Banjo? Yeah, like throwing down with the monster. I'm like, well, that's gutsy, but yeah, I felt like he was probably gonna break it down. Like, you don't know how tough the monsters are, so like, maybe he wouldn't bust his hands, but who knows? Um, Also, like Banjo, really? That's the last name you gave him? Like, wasn't that like the main villain of Drive? Like, come on, man. Um, right. And then the actual henshin happens. Oh, sorry, right. Did you want to say something?
I was gonna say, like, his first name is also Ryuga, and there is a Kamen
Yeah,
Rider Ryuga in Ryuki.
I know, right? Like, it's the most. Uh, okay, this writer clearly did not fucking watch the older shit. Or at least did not care, no? It's fine. I mean, he's probably making references with the names, so whatever. It's cool. Because Japan has this habit of like their names are puns or references and things like that. So it's probably something like that going on. Um, as for the actual henshin, like oh god, like I thought I wasn't gonna hate it as much as I hate it, but I fucking hate it. Uh, and like I hate like I thought the shaking bottles things was bad, but like then he just like stands there and shakes them and then he puts them in, and then he cranks it for a while. I'm like, the monster would have killed you like 3 times over at this point. Like, you are stretching, like really stretching the fucking do not hit me while I transform rule right now. Like, this is my problem. Like, the directing, like, it could have worked, but like, I think the directing was a little sloppy there, or they're like, okay, keep the actor as still as possible, damn it, because we have to put a lot of CGI and we do not have time to fucking put like camera tracking, even though that's kind of super
You
simple
know what?
nowadays. But
That's probably what it was.
yeah, I mean, like I can give that, but like shit, I can do camera tracking. Like it's so basic nowadays. But who knows? Japan, maybe they were lazy. Maybe they didn't have time. I would say that, but then like they drive off later on, and like literally the guys are shooting, and they're like worse than stormtroopers at this point. I'm like, okay, you clearly could have shot this better. Like that is super lazy. Um, right. My other problem is like, I didn't think like he would have to crank it so many times. I thought it'd be like 1, 2, done, you know. But like he stands there and he like cranks it for like 10 seconds or something.
They're
Okay, maybe
probably
not
just
that long.
playing it
Like,
up for the first henshin. I'm sure it'll be much faster later on.
I know. My thing was like if I was designing this belt, one, I would remove the things, so they would just go insert, insert, and that's double like. And then secondly, like Wizard has the spinning thing on his belt too because the hand sign like flips side to side, and all he has to do is like press the buttons on the side, like just push them down, and like instead of having the hand crank, they should have just had that like lever thing that Wizard has. And then if you needed to go faster, just do it twice, you know, like whoever designed this did a really bad job. Like at first I was okay with it because I'm like, oh, it's nice to go back to a slim belt, you know, like the last one we had was like O's. But I do not like this belt. Like it's way clunkier than I thought it would. Like it's gonna get better because they're just gonna cut out all this crap going forward. But like, man, they should have designed this better. Oh, one last thing. It's nice to go back to like a cafe setting. Man, we haven't have like it's a long running writer thing that like cafes show up as like secret bases and stuff. And like and their whole like refrigerator door entrance. I'm like that's something out of like Sun Vulcan right there. Um, but yeah, the last time I think we had a cafe was like O's, so that's kind of cool to have that back. Oh wait,
After. Oh, what?
wait, did we all talk about the writer kick?
I think so. Did anyone have not get have something they didn't get to say?
No, I just thought of some other things
Like,
while Zero was talking.
I still have 2 more notes to go.
Okay, let me just do the writer kick thing. Like the graph that they show is basically like acceleration. Um, so when it shows like that red thing, it's just like peak acceleration. Um, and then so when you see him like cross the like red mark, and that's when like the flames on his like legs show up. I'm like, oh, that's a clever touch. This is a super slow ass rider kick though, and I don't like it. Um, but otherwise, that was a nice touch.
Oh yeah, this actually was a good rider kick. Other than like the big build up, I don't expect to be seeing this graph every time though. One thing that I didn't like was that so he has a rabbit tank theme. So like one leg is rabbit, it has a spring on it they can propel forward with. The other is the tank, and it has like a conveyor belt on the foot, and it's the tank foot that he did the kick with. And I don't like that. I'd rather if he used the rabbit foot, but that's just a personal nitpick.
Yeah, but I think the thing is like you launch off the rabbit foot, and then like most riders switch feet. So like I think that's what they're going for. But yeah, I don't like the tank thing either. Like rabbit tank should have been like a long distance combo. You know, like Kuga Pegasus form or something like that.
Actually, while I was when I watched it, he actually doesn't use the tank. He actually does use because he was using the tank leg for support, and then while he used his rabbit leg to kick him, back to when they were shooting at him.
We're talking about the
So-
rider kick before that, when he's still fighting the smash.
Oh, the fire
when he
goes
slides down the graph.
Yeah, it's hooray!
Yeah, I mean like this would have worked if it was faster. It's just too slow for a rider kick. Like everything in this episode is too damn slow for the fights. That's my only problem. Or at least this final fight. It's like, dude, like you would get messed up by any other rider monster right now. Like, come on, your enemies literally have to stand there and do nothing for you to be able to hit them.
Again, they're just playing it up. It's not going to last. Moving on. After...
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
I was gonna say like I wish like somebody would do like a cool ass first rider kick like Kiva, but that's all I had.
After Bill defeats the Smash and collects its component, it turns back into a human named Shimizu. Ryuga recognizes him from the lab and tries asking him questions, but he doesn't remember anything. Build is reminded of when he was first found by Soichi, unable to remember anything himself. Himuro shows up with some guardians to catch Ryuga, who still insists that he didn't murder anyone. Shimizu escapes when they approach. Build contemplates for a second, then gets out his bike and takes Ryuga with him. The guardians chase them, but Build manages to get them to crash in various ways so they can escape. Ryuga asks Sento why he helped him, and Sento says that he believes him. Episode end. This was a pretty neat chase scene, particularly that they, first off, yeah, Bill did use, like, his tank foot to help speed up the bike, and then when they were firing missiles at him, he used his rabbit foot to deflect them and knock him back. And I did like seeing him, like, ride up the sky wall and get some of them to crash into this energy beam that's coming out of the top. There were also, when we do get a good look at the sky wall, there are also, like, guard posts, as though, like, you can just pass through the wall, like, maybe they carved out doors? It's unclear, but that's what it looked like there were.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting that there was a part that they could ramp onto. That was a pretty interesting chase. But what I really liked was that right off the bat, our hero's faced with like a tough decision because he could have easily just. Well, I mean, the decision aside, most other riders pretty much get to take it easy for the first couple of episodes and just go toy selling flow. But yeah, right off the bat, he's has to pretty much make Kamen Rider an outlaw. His identity is still unknown, but yeah, he's pretty much going to be branded by the peaceful Toto as pretty much an enemy of the state. So yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting.
This was hands down my favorite part of the whole friggin' episode because Bill just contemplating, knowing he's probably gonna regret doing this, but he does it anyway just for the hell of it. You got the whole damn chase. I adored. He's like trying to drive the bike, him screaming when they went down the wall, all of it. I just loved every second of it. I get that's where most of the CGI budget went to, even more so than the first fight, but hell, it was still awesome. And as for Sento actually believing Yuga, I think is him, well, both trying to hide his, motives a little bit more since he doesn't know if he can trust them yet, and probably because he might be telling the truth. He really could believe him. And besides, at this point, it's not like he has much other choice. And as for Nitro, yeah, he seems very, again, very mysterious. I like that this show's giving us a lot of openings for different theories, and of course, this one being, who the hell is this guy? And I don't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does, and I did like the little joke at the end. That was still cute, and I really can't wait to see what's next.
I kind of agree with King the whole bit. With the chase and everything, that was very, very exciting. It was almost like a Japanese version of Rosewater's police video. It was like, screw you. And screw you too. And you know what? I'm just gonna make it look like you're about to come in and then go, screw you! Using his drill, which I still don't understand how he gets it. And how he's able to turn it suddenly into a blaster and everything. I'm still trying to figure that out. And then he just jams at the wall. I was like, yeah, let's just goodbye. And and then the strange thing is how the bike suddenly just turned back into the phone at the last possible second before destruction is beyond me. It's just kind of very confusing. And then I especially love how at the end you have that bat guy just standing there like, the war has begun. And it was like, jeez, are we having a Darth Vader moment? Holy crap. Ah. And then it was a very, very, very like intense part. And then I also agree with Rai with the guard post like objects like, which begs the question of, is there doors? And then it was like, I personally think there might be, but this does the fact that it might be there just for decoration purposes only. But other than that, it was a very, very good chase. It was a very good way to end the entire episode.
Oh, okay. My turn. Like, this is the part where I didn't really like it because, like I like the concept of this chase and everything. It's just it wasn't well executed for the most part. Like, it was a little sloppy. I mean, like I can kind of let the chase go, but then like they started climbing up the wall, and then it just turned into like, oh, good. It's like a 200-meter like cliff, but because we have riders on it, it's gonna be like kilometers long of CGI when we drop down this, because we've done that a couple times in like movie wars and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, come on, like doing this like super lazy shit right off the bat. Like, I was not a fan of that. But the good news is like when like, and also I don't know how much time he has to decide with the turning. I'm like, or catch them. Like, he's sitting down like thinking about it. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing, guards? I know you're basically like Zek troopers from freaking like Kabuto, and they were pretty much useless. They were not this freaking useless, right? At least they fucking captured Kabuto, for fuck's sakes. Well, Kabuto let him get captured, but you know, right? Like, at least they did something. But the ending part when they're just talking, that was really, really nice. So, A+ for dialogue, not so much for directing. As final part.
Uh, moving on to final thoughts. I thought this was overall a really good first episode. There, like Zero pointed out, there are some problems with this. The exposition is pretty clunky and forced at times. There are some problems with like the pacing when it comes to the fight and stuff. Overall, I still enjoyed this. Just what it sets up and the potential for this series is what is making me enjoy this. And I am looking forward to the next year of Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I think even if the rider aspect of it is might be a bit not that strong, because I mean we already have like a bunch of forms announced, and I mean they're literally pushing them on their superhero times and stuff. Like, oh, here are the forms that are gonna come up. Yeah,
That's literally the wizard problem, where like we have so many goddamn rings that like literally like, one episode and never again.
yeah. So I think that might not be the greatest, but just based off what I'm seeing and what I know from the writer, these characters are gonna be so damn good. I you can you can mark that down because yeah, I mean he's written so many like different characters in his dramas. It's not all action, it's not all romance, it's all not all comedy. He's got a pretty diverse portfolio, so I think a lot of these characters are going to be pretty rounded out. Even though basically the problem with this episode was it was kind of like Wizard introduce. I mean, not Wizard. Double introducing all its side characters right off the bat. Like if they did that in Double, they did that in this episode. But yeah, I think they're gonna get some pretty good development. So I'm hopeful for that. Oh, and another thing I didn't talk about. Build's fight background music is pretty great, I have to say. I mean, it's not as like hardcore epic as Xade's, badass fight theme was, but I do like the kind of low key, it's more like Blade-ish, kind of Den-O-ish. It's pretty fun. I like it a lot.
Oh my god. I have been looking forward to this ever since they showed the freaking silhouette of Build. And now the characters seem incredible, the music is gorgeous, the fights look awesome, story keeps me coming back for more so far. I know there are gonna be faults along the way, there always are, but count me in for every bit of this because I cannot wait to see what's coming this year. And this is gonna be a damn good year for Toku. I guarantee it.
Basically, last thoughts for me. I mean, again, King basically took everything, and then there's also the fact that as I literally just thought of this as you guys were doing final thoughts, there's also the fact that he's not only able to have the rabbit tank, but he's also able to modify it as he goes along. Like he takes out the rabbit and then adds in the hedgehog or whatever he just got, puts it in. Now he gets a spike ball for a hand. It's just the way that now the possibilities are endless. That with every one he might just get a brand new one. Now he's able to get a brand new transformation with brand new powers. It just makes me want to like, what's gonna be next? Which powers is he gonna get next? Is there going to be more Kamen Riders in here? Wouldn't be surprised because no one does it alone. But I was like, when are they gonna introduce more? Is it gonna be like X-Aid, where it's gonna be one every episode until they got almost all of them? Or is it gonna be like other ones where it's gonna be, okay, now we're gonna wait a couple episodes and then we're gonna introduce a new one and keep going? It's like drag it us in for wanting more, wanting to see this thing through to the end. It's just very mind blowing, very epic, and I like that. My first stream is about one of the most epic episodes I've seen so far, and that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, okay. Final thoughts, like, decent episode, not good, not great, because, a lot of clunky exposition, not super great directing, but I can give that to, it's the first episode. They had like a lot of stuff to set up. They probably didn't have like everything nailed down, so I'm like, all right, I'll give you a pass this time. But like, the characters seem decent. It's interesting to see how many like early Heisei, or okay, I'm not gonna say it's pulling early Heisei characters and tropes, but like, it feels like early Heisei characters and tropes are showing up in the show, so that's interesting. Hopefully fucking Toei learned their lesson and like backs the fuck off and does not screw the show up like they did Wizard when, last time they said they were gonna go back to like shower roots. Um, they're never gonna go back to shower roots. It's gonna be early Heisei at best, or maybe like double N O's, which aren't bad. So it'd be good if the show can live up to that expectation. And as like, again, it just seems like the action and directing needed a little bit of work, but that could have been clunky because like maybe the CGI wasn't ready, or maybe they just had to rush the production or something. But like, the characters seem solid, so the show could be solid. Like, the suit looks okay. It just needs better choreography, but like, they had so much shit going on. Like, I don't blame them too much for it. So like, it looks like it's gonna be a good show, but like, it's the first episode. You can never really tell. Like, short of being like Ryuki first episode level of kind of shit, like I don't think any writer show is that terrible on the first episode. Um, So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm hoping, like, it has hints that it could be a good show, and I hope after, like, it's been a really long time since we've gotten like two good writer shows back to back. Like, I hope this is good because that would be awesome.
Seems like that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us, everyone, tonight. Vashi had to leave early, unfortunately, so he couldn't be here. Uh, so we'll see you all next week. Next Tuesday, we'll be talking more about Uchu Sentai Kyo Ranger. Next Wednesday, it'll be Kamen Rider Build, Episode 2. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Later, taters.
Later, guys.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and see you next time.